From the Lean Enterprise Institute in Boston, this is the WLEI podcast, where we share stories of people making the world better through lean thinking and practice. For more information about LEI, including how we can help you apply lean thinking, please visit lean.org.
Hello, my name is Mark Reich with the Lean Enterprise Institute. I'm a chief engineer of strategy, and we are here as part of the management brief, and we're doing a podcast today with Mr. Isao Yoshino. Mr. Yoshino was with Toyota Motor Corporation for many years. He'll explain his background. He was an executive with the organization, and he had responsibilities in both Japan and North America. Hello, Mr. Yoshino.
Hi. Thank you very much for inviting me.
We're very happy to have you here. So maybe we can start the interview just by me first asking if you could introduce yourself and your roles during your time in Toyota.
I see. Okay. Well, actually, I'm no engineer. My background is not engineering. So most of the non-engineering employees at Toyota, when we are hired, we go through many different places, maybe 4 years or 5 years in one department, then we move another one. The purpose of this arrangement is not for non-engineers, engineer employees. We are expected to learn so many things in various ways and wider area, not deep enough. And so that is kind of purpose of that. We call it rotation system. So that's why I went through close to 10 different departments while I was at Toyota.
Please share a few of the places.
Okay. Well, actually, I started working at the export department, my first place. Then I wanted to work closer to the factory. Then I was sent to the production plant, Motomachi plant, where our cars are made over there. So I was knee-deep in that production line and department. Then I was sent to Tokyo office. So maybe 7 or 8 different departments, whether I can get wider experience working with different people. So that is the major purpose of that. We call it rotation system for non-engineers and employees.
Thank you very much. That's very helpful. So next question I want to ask you, our podcast and the management brief is primarily about things like Hoshin, kanri, daily management, and A3 problem solving. But I think you were involved in Hoshin kanri in your career. How was Hoshin kanri impactful for you personally during your career?
Actually, Hoshin kanri is a Japanese word. The Hoshin kanri is you set the goal of your lifetime or at the company or at your personal life. And so it's only designed for the company, but at the same time, it works for me because when I was younger, I did not think about what is will be my future life or something. But where I was working at I was knee-deep in that Hoshin kanri activities. Then I learned this works for me personally as well. So I have to think about my future, maybe 5 years or 6 years or 10 years. So that is very, very helpful for me to think about a little bit deeper about my future plans. And so very good. Toyota's Hoshin kanri is very, very practical.
Well, great. That's really interesting. How would you go about defining Hoshin kanri as it was used in Toyota?
Well, actually, one of the things which makes Toyota's Hoshin kanri different is that big bosses, president or those high-rank officers are very serious about Hoshin kanri Hoshin kanri activities. And in other companies, maybe the bosses just make some decision. Okay, you guys do that. But in case of Toyota, they are very much serious because they are decision makers. They want to know more about what's going on in the shop floor, in the offices. So they are ready to receive all those comments and opinions from our employees. So top management always ready to listen to us. And I was so happy to work in that Hoshin Kanri office because I have a lot of chance to talk high-ranked general manager level of people across Toyota in headquarters area. So all I found out, general managers, they are so high up there, but still they always are very, eager to check whether we are doing just like we promised on our Hoshin document, something like that. So Hoshin Kanri concept is very close to each of the key things up there and lower ranked people. So that makes Toyota different from other companies, I believe.
That's very good. Thank you. I agree with you based on my experience with Toyota. I believe that there was a very important person in the starting of Hoshin Kanri and Toyota. His name is Mr. Sugiura. And I think you worked for some time with Mr. Sugiura. He was the person who helped establish Hoshin in the 1960s in Toyota. I know he's still alive, and he's your friend. Could you tell me what it was like to work with Mr. Sugiura?
Oh, okay. That's a very good question, because before I moved to Mr. Sugiura's office, I was in Tokyo office. I'm working for one of the most terrible bosses at Toyota. So I learned so many things what not to do when I became a manager in the future. Then I moved to Sogo Hikaku and work in Mr. Sugiura's office. Then I found out he is a good listener. And he knows that every people is different from each other. So he is always ready to listen to me, each of his staff members. And also, he is not forcing his idea to the people working for him. He just share, what do you think? Yoshino, what do you think? I think this way. What do you think? So he always ready to listen to me. So that is really, really, very, that makes me feel so happy. My boss, Mr. Sugiura, is ready to help me out, ready to listen to my opinion. So that is one of the most interesting interesting moment that I ever had when I joined Toyota 1940. When was it? 1966. Yep.
Great. That's very good. Thank you. So I believe a really important program that was established in the 1970s coming out of Shinkanri to strengthen leadership capability was what was called the Conpro system.
Yes.
And perhaps you could describe in the 70s the work you did. I know you were a leader in developing the Conpro system.
I see. Yes, I was in that office, and Conpro started in 79. But before 79, top management, was always watching very carefully what's going on within Toyota. And in the 60s, Toyota has been so successful, implementing Hoshin Kanri and everything. But top management found out, particularly Mr. Eiji Toyoda found out that looks like we have been so successful. However, we are a little bit not so serious about sticking to those basic way of thinking, which we used to enjoy in the 60s. And now in late 70s, we are kind of slowing down in the seriousness. So top management started worrying about the situation. It's not visible, but they sensed it. So the top management just talk about his own concerns to Mr. Nemoto, who is also another great top management. And so they start thinking about maybe we should start some of the training program for the general manager level. We should start from the top management, not top management, general manager level, not training our employees, but we decision makers, general manager at higher level, we need to learn all those basic we used to learn in maybe 50s and 60s. So that is how Compro started. It's a special training course designed for the highest ranking employees, general manager level, which never happened in other part of the country. The training for not newcomer, not young people, the training for the all-time but very nice general manager level, highest ranking of employees. So 2 years. So it's amazing that top management always worried about whether we are doing things right or wrong. So that makes Toyota a lot different from other companies in Japan.
So I have an additional question about the Conpro and the top and the leaders. How did the leaders feel about this Conpro system when it was introduced?
Well, that's very interesting because at first reaction when they hear about Compro, they ask me what Compro means. So we have to explain. Then the first reaction is that, oh, Yoshino, you guys trying to coach us, trying to make us learn something new. That was the first reaction. They are not rejected, but they are kind of wondering why we need to learn something new at our age, at our position. That was the first reaction. But Mr. Sugiura and our team trying to explain, yes, sir, I understand what you're talking about. However, top management is so serious. That means top management is ready to learn something by themselves as well, even though they are so high up there. So this is a good timing. Top was so serious, they are ready to learn themselves up there. Why don't we, well, you guys, general manager level, you are so important. So it's time for you as well to learn something new, just like top management do. And so we try to tell them that Compro is very important. Still, we don't not clearly understand what is going to be, but we try to explain them. So Mr. Sugiura and our team always listen to them, their complaints on the phone. But still, I know what you're talking about, but we are also excited about this program because it looks like it's very, very a good program, we believe. So why don't you try that? So that was the first reaction for them. But when they started working on that, maybe 3 months, 4 months later, their attitude started to change slightly from a little negative, not too positive, but to become a little bit positive because they thought maybe this program will be helpful for me to learn something more at my age, how to work together with my people. So it started very strange, some terrible reaction from the people complaining, but it slowed down. Instead, it became more positive than negative. So that was great experience for me.
Very interesting story. Thank you. So talking about Hoshin Kanri and Conpro, what was the impact that those programs, that activities had on Toyota in the 60s and 70s?
Actually, Hoshin kanri is designed for every employee to follow. It's a kind of a roadmap. Everybody working in the office will follow all those items. So Hoshin kanri is designed for entire people working in the office and the shop floor. But Compro is designed specifically for high-ranking people, which is called general manager's level. It's not the younger generation, but general manager level, very close to top management. So they don't need to learn from ABC of everything, but they need to learn what is my role as a general manager. So so they start thinking very, very seriously about what is my role is about. So when they need to prepare some document in A3. So their A3 should not be very detailed about what's going on in his own or her own department. But focus on that control is the focus is placed on what kind of role you as a general manager needs to play in this activity. So you are not supposed to go through all those key items what your people are doing in each department, but what is your own role? What is your own responsibility as a general manager, decision maker, the highest ranking of the department? What do you need to do? What do you need to think? What do you need to be? How you need to behave? How you need to work together? And so focus is on what is the role as a general manager is all about. And that is a kind of retraining, re-education for the highest ranking employees. And it's very, very interesting program designed for highest ranking people.
Okay, thank you. So we have a lot of people in our audience that many are trying Hoshin Kanri. How do you think Hoshin Kanri can help a company?
Actually, one of the benefits of Hoshin Kanri is that, that is a very important tool to use when you communicate with the people working for you. Because if you only talk verbally, just sometimes you talk about one thing, another thing. But Hoshin Kanri is a document where you guys put all those key items you need to follow this year. So it's a very important tool to use it as a for communicating with the people. Also, it will give you the target you attain this year and what kind of action plans you need to go through to attain the target. It's visible on the document because we put everything in A3. It's very visible. It's not the verbal communication, but it's visible. But each time boss needs to talk and check whether everything is okay. They use all those A3 in front of them and okay, we go through this item A and item B or whatever. So it's a very important tool to make your conversation, communication very active between boss and subordinate.
Yes, we learned in Toyota. You learned, I know I learned too, as part of that interaction with bosses, that sometimes it's bad news first. What do you think of that?
Well, actually, that is one of the very keywords that makes Toyota different from other companies. Because when we work on something, we succeed sometimes, but sometimes we make mistakes. Because we are human beings, we make mistakes. But at Toyota, what makes Toyota different from other companies is that we don't blame the people who make mistakes just because it's a mistake. Mistakes have some reason to happen. So one of the first reaction, particularly boss's reaction, is that not to blame the people, but just this is a good chance for us to learn some lessons out of the mistakes we made, the mistakes they make. So we take the opportunity to become positive to find the solution instead of blaming somebody. Blaming somebody does not give you anything, but trying to find the cause of the problem will benefit you, benefit the people all over the department. So the way we receive that mistake is so different from other companies. We are ready to listen to bad news, mistakes, rather than blaming the tool to blame somebody. So it's totally different. That makes Toyota different from other companies.
I agree. So another question. For those in our audience who are trying to introduce Hoshin Kanri to improve their business, what are some important steps they can take to be successful?
I see. Well, one of the first step is that, Hoshin Kanri is just a tool. So Hoshin Kanri, you use that tool to communicate with the people working for you. And also, before you, actually, one of the first thing is that you have to share what you need to accomplish this year with your people. You have to put down on the document to share every week, every month. It's visible. Visibility is very important. So whenever we have a long meeting, short meeting, we use this Hoshin document in front of us. And if you have 5 items, then it's everybody looking at those A3, whatever. So very important to make visibility very open to everybody. So it's very important to bind everybody's attention together into one direction. And so it's very important to make the communication between boss and subordinate very smooth, and particularly bad news first means boss is always ready to listen bad news because we make mistakes even though we don't want to. So bad news has some reason to happen. Good news also have the reason to happen. Sometimes good news comes from good luck. You don't have to work hard, but good luck comes from somewhere. Bad news has some reason to happen. Bad news does not come from outside, come from yourself. So bad news is a very, very important place to learn something important. And so that's why bad news is a very important tool to learn something, not the tool to blame somebody. So it's other people just are not so afraid of making mistakes because we try our best. But sometimes we make mistakes, but we are always trying to make it open and bring it up to bosses. I made a mistake. So then just can you discuss how to solve this problem, how to help people not to make the same mistakes happen again. So we take making mistakes, we take those activities positive or very important source of learning something new instead of the tool to blame somebody. So that makes Toyota so different from other companies. Sorry, it took so long time.
No, that's very good. Thank you. So what challenges do you think executives will face as they try to implement Hoshin Kanri in their company?
Well, actually, Hoshin Kanri is very important tool, but it's kind of time consuming. Sometimes you have to spend some time working on that. So many people just don't want to do that. I don't want to put it down in writing, but I know everything in my head. However, visibility is very important, particularly when you work with many people working for you. So particularly bosses needs to know what's going on underneath his supervision. So Hoshin document is very important to make everybody's activities look visible, and it's a very important tool to use when you review at a certain timing. Very important tool. So no need to be complete perfect. You put all the key things on top of this A3 Hoshin document and share it with the people. That is more important than making it very good, very nicely prepared A3. Does not need to be nicely set up. As long as you put all those key information on top of A3, that is the most important thing.
Thank you. So another question. You and I, we never worked together in Toyota.
I know.
But unfortunately, I wish I worked with you. But, we know each other now. And I believe our thinking, based on my discussions I've had with you, our thinking around management philosophy and things like Hoshin Kanri and A3 problem solving are very similar. And I think I credit Toyota. Toyota, I think, built that common thinking in us. And I believe that one of the strengths of Toyota is building that common structures where we can, where the organization can learn. And so everyone that comes out of that has the same learning. What's your feeling about that?
Well, actually, you're right. One of the things that makes Toyota different is that, we always share good news, bad news together. That is where we can learn some lessons out of that. So Hoshin Kanri is a very great tool to discuss, to share good news, bad news, whatever. And also it is visible. And also it's a kind of promise to yourself to accomplish it this year. What kind of items you need to accomplish this year? It's a kind of promise to yourself, to other people. And so it's a great tool. It's just a tool. And sometimes you accomplish, sometimes you can't accomplish, but it's okay. Because once you promise yourself, okay, I want to accomplish this by the end of this year, you put it down. It's a kind of promise to yourself, to your people. So it's a great tool, but it's just a guideline. And so Hoshin Kanri is we believe it's regulated. It's not necessarily promise, but I would like to accomplish this one, and you can change in the middle of the course. It's a tool, just a tool for us to do a better job than before. Anyway, so Toyota I believe that Hoshin Kanri is a great tool, and also it's a great tool for us to think about deeper and what we need to do. We always come back to our Hoshin document whenever we get lost. So it's just a piece of paper but it's so important tool for us to reconsider what is my role is, what my people are doing, what timing we need to check everything. So it's a very, just one piece of A3 document is a very important tool for guide us to go to the right direction.
Yes. Well, one of the things that is very important for me about having worked in Toyota, and I hear this from you, but I hear it from, I feel this myself, and I hear it from many people. There's a lot of respect for the previous generations and the work that they've done, and that we're building on previous generations' work. Like you talk about Mr. Sugiura and his work he did with Hoshin Kanri, and you were working to build on the good work he did. And so I just want to thank you that I feel like I'm not an expert, but I have experienced Hoshin Kanri, and I feel like hopefully I'm building on the great work that people like you and Mr. Sugiura have done in the past. That's not.
We're talking about the word of respect. Respect is very, very important concept. Respect is not something that I look somebody who is up there with higher knowledge and whatever higher capability. It's not. Respect is it's a very important way of thinking, to accept somebody's opinion and to listen to them rather than telling them what to do. So respect is a very simple word to tell ourselves that we need to be ready to learn something from somebody. So show respect is to listen to other people and to help them out when they are in trouble. So it's a sophisticated meaning, sound like sophisticated meaning, but the meaning is very simple. Just to take everything as they are. So I believe one of the reasons why Toyota has been so successful is that Toyota, from top management to the bottom, everybody has a sense of respect to other people, to themselves as well, to their family, to their friends. So that's what respect means to us, Toyota people.
Yes. So maybe a final question, Mr. Yoshino, for you. Are there any other things you would like to share about this topic of Hoshin Kanri or development of people?
I see. Well, thank you for asking that question, because Hoshin Kanri is not too sophisticated, but it's a very important guideline for our life, personal life, and the company life. So it is so important to create your own Hoshin with your own style. No need to stick to that, all those manuals, whatever. If you think that is right, then you create your Hoshin target to attain, the process you want to take, and the timing, and what kind of action plans to attain the goal. All those things you have to write down, make it visible. So it's a very important tool for our own business life as well as our personal life as well. That's why I still keep writing my own personal Hoshin every year. The other day I revised it, but I'm revising it again. Even this is my second one, I have to revise because I start working together with Mark. So I'd like to put in something out of that. So, Hoshin Kanri is a very important tool, just a paper, but a tool to take you out to the right direction and also make it visible what you're doing, what you're doing right now, what you need to do the next. So it's an important tool to take you out to the right direction. And Toyota people have been doing that without noticing that, because it's part of a day-to-day work. Whenever we need to discuss something, we always, come back to our Hoshin document. Okay, what we have promised at the beginning of the year. So it's a very important tool. And so my suggestion to all the people listening to this is that you can create your personal Hoshin. So very simple one is okay, and try it and see what happens. And so I want you to try something small first and see what happens. If you're happy with the result, then you can make it a little bit larger or bigger. So starting something like Hoshin is because Hoshin is a direction you need to go through with the personal life or business life. So I would like to recommend to everybody in the business world, in the personal life, to create our own Hoshin as a kind of a compass where you need to go. And so it's a business world, but it's not only business. It also helps us our personal life as well.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for the time today, Mr. Yoshino, and I appreciate
It's my pleasure.
and you sharing your thinking.